Good evening. This is Ubuntu channel, and welcome to the program tonight on news of the week or headlines of the week on the program called Point of View. My name is Chaza, and we'll be having a discussion with a couple of people that are going to join me right here. And we're looking at those stories that have made headlines in this week as we get to wind down the week. Lawrence, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, Chaza, and good evening to all our viewers. Thank you so much for having me.
It's good to have you, and it's been a long time. Where have you been?
Around and about. But it's always good to be back. This is home, eh?
Nice one, nice one. And very soon we'll also be joined by Lance Sani Banda right here. Let's get started by looking at the story or the testimony, from a survivor from, the abductors. See you on the other side.
Which has shocked many, but as well leaving many unanswered questions. Little did the public know that the investigative wings had set camp in Lusaka's Chalala area for about 4 days. This 19-year-old girl had her two friends abducted between September 18.
It appears we are having a chat.
Texted me to say, babe, I tried calling her, she cut my call. I called, it was in a noisy place, so I didn't really get what she was saying. Then later on, I started talking to her, but I started firing questions at her. Before calling Felicitas' mom, I had to screenshot and send to one of the police. Then they were like, don't fire questions at them, all you have to do is let them ask you questions. After that, she texted me around 18 to 19 to say we should meet up by Maria Adams, certain place within the same area. For the
She
Airtel
says
number.
from time to time,
Upon
they would
waiting for me
text
to
her
send
on
the
her
Zamtel
friend's number.
around 9, around 8, the police called me saying they're coming to pick me up, have to move together. They called me around, they came to pick me up around 9:30 somewhere there. We left and went direct to Zicta offices. So I started operating from there. We waited there. I sent the number, but their number was going on and off, and they tried to track one of the where they used to withdraw money from.
The information obtained from the girl, whose name has been withheld, has led the ZNBC news crew to another discovery.
Yeah, Grace, after 1 week. After 2 weeks. After 1 pin, 4 pin, Tangala, 5 pins after 2 weeks. Yes.
Then the one for 1,000.
For one, yeah, in Angala 2 weeks. Then after 1 3, somewhere 1 3 or 1 2. Yeah, but the money they owe me is 5 pin.
Meanwhile, the house in Lusaka's Chalala area, where the 13 young women were discovered, has remained under police guards. Martha Bana, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
That's a story, about the survivor of, the abduction. There are so many, reactions from the public, so many comments, and so on and so forth. I think before we even get to comment, a lot about it, I'd request that we get to have a clip from, the IG of police.
Through you, the press, that today, 3rd October 2022, we have managed to safely rescue Pamela Chisupa together with 2 other ladies that were held captive in a house in Chara Road since April this year when she was abducted around Cairo Road in Osaka. All the victims have been taken to a medical facility for quick medical attention. We have managed to apprehend one suspect who is being detained in our police custody to help us with investigations. We would like to call for calm amongst the general public as we wait for the victims to recuperate and further our investigations. A comprehensive statement will be issued in due course. I thank you so much.
That was a statement from the Inspector General of Police, giving us, the actually statement or the standpoint, the official standpoint, from the police. And not only that, we also have a statement from the Minister of Home Affairs. I think let's get to have that one, then we get to add our voices onto, the build-up of this story.
Targeted people they knew from their school days. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, the brief facts are that between 17th March and 18th June 2022, 4 female mobile money agents were abducted, namely Faith Muluti, aged 28, Pamela Chisupa, aged 21, Paksina Chanda, aged 22, and Machwani Nalukui, aged 21. Paksina Chanda, and between 15th August and 20 September 2022, 9 nursing students from a named university in Chilanga district were abducted from their boarding houses. This made it very difficult as parents thought their children were in school, as well as the authorities assuming that students could have gone home. And as such, there were no reports that were made to any police station pertaining to the 9 students. The first victim was Faith Muluti. She was abducted by 2 men in Makeni Simonson area. The abductors impersonated police officers who were trying to trace a stolen phone. The abductors coerced Faith to follow them to a police station, and in the process, she was abducted. On 13th April 2022, around 14 hours, while operating at her booth near ShopRite along Cairo Road, Pamela Chisumpa was approached by a person she identified as James Walia, a former classmate at a named secondary school in Kabwe, and in the process, she was abducted. The third victim was Paksina Chanda, a resident of Lilanda Township in Lusaka. On 14th May 2022, while working at her booth situated along Lumumba Road, Paksina was approached by a person she identified as James Walia, a former classmate at a named secondary school in Kabwe. She was picked up from her booth and later got abducted. The fourth mobile money agent victim was Machwani Nalukui of John Howard. On 18th June 2022, whilst operating at her booth along Lumumba Road, Machwani was approached by a person she identified as Jordan, a usual customer at her booth. In the process, she was also abducted. As earlier alluded to, other victims included nursing students from a named university in Chilanga district, The first victim was Priscilla Maplanga, aged 23 years, on 15th August 2022. Priscilla was abducted by James Warrior, a former classmate. The abductor, James Warrior, enticed Priscilla Maplanga to call her roommate from the university to deliver to her a laptop she was to collect from a named filling station in the Lai area. The victim, Rosemary Chibwe, took Priscilla's laptop to a named filling station as agreed. In the process, she fell in the trap and got abducted. Their abductors used similar modus operandi to lure the other 6 students from the same university. These are Nesta Lungu, aged 25, abducted on 31st August 2022, Grace Siabelua, aged 22, abducted on 12th September 2022, Ruth Banda, aged 21, abducted on 16th September 2022, Tawanda Bwalia, aged 17, abducted on 16th September 2022, Felista Sargentu.
It is a very unfortunate, development there, and it appears this trend is happening or has been happening in a common pattern. And when you look at the ages, it's actually the same age range. And Bob Marley actually sang that it's only a best friend that can be a worst enemy, because he alone knows your secret. So these people appears to have known, the victims of, abduction very well. And they actually had to strike in a way that was not suspicious at all. Let me get to start with you, Lawrence. Your reaction, to this story.
First and foremost, I think it's important we all join together as a country in celebrating the fact that the girls were recovered and in good spirits and also alive. That is what was important for us as the citizenry of this country. We were so worried that we might have lost some lives and all that, though it came as a surprise that actually the number was up to 13 when we only knew about 2 or 3 who were missing all along, and that is where my issues personally start from. From the onset, I think when we hear the statement from the minister that you have just that was just played, he makes mention that some students were abducted, and the schools were thinking the students are at home while
looks like
and for me it's a problem. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We lost you for a second, but we can get you now.
Okay, yeah, I was saying if we have students who can be at school and go missing, and the schools don't bother to even check how far the students are, why students are not showing up for class, it's a problem for me. But starting from the genesis of it, I think we spoke about this issue some time back earlier this year. We discussed this issue about Pamela Chisupa in specific, because that was a very well-known case in terms of abductions. And now we see one girl jumping off a wall fence after probably, I should say, a lapse in concentration on the part of the abductors, and one girl manages to jump over the fence and calls out the neighbors, and they come and rescue everything, and it's what brings us where we are today. I'm very delighted, first and foremost, that there was one who was courageous to take that risk and ensure that the friends were also safe. it's very commendable. Much appreciation to her. Much appreciation to goes to the neighbors who took time to help the dear ones who had been abducted. It's very commendable that as neighbors we watch out for each other, we look out for each other, we sustain each other and make sure that the next person is also safe. It's what exactly these guys did, and they went in without any weapon whatsoever, not knowing what they were going to meet inside there, but they still thought it was wise to wake and go and assist the abducted ladies out there. I'm very much concerned that we could have a situation where 13 people would go missing, being kept in a house, and for questions that we ask is, for what exactly? Looking at the situations that we see from the videos that were taken in the house, they are very worrisome, where we are even seeing caskets. A casket, sorry, let me not sensationalize the whole thing. We see a casket in the house as well, and you tend to wonder, what was the purpose of people being kept with a casket in a room? You know, we have a lot of insinuations and perceptions that have come up, but I do not want to dig into that. I think that is the job for the police, I think, and we expect the police to come out after they are done with the investigation and give the country, I think, closure of some sort in this kind of an issue. Now, going background again is where we see some parents are complaining that they had actually reported their dear ones missing at some point, and police seemed to have turned them away. Some people say they were not properly attended to by the police and assisted them after they filed in the complaints that probably someone was missing. And the stories we are getting is that some of them are among the 13 that were recovered. It makes very sad reading, very sad reading on the part of the police. It's a time that we need the police to wake up and attend to some of these issues, minute as they might look, small as they might look. To some extent, they might be big. We might never know, and it's just inappropriate to turn away someone, and then it turns out that something was as big as this. And we wonder, how come we only knew about 2 or 3, and the rest we didn't know about them, and we only go to find out about them after being recovered? These are questions that the citizens are asking. Probably, let me give a chance to somebody else to also come in, because this issue, I think we are going to try and dissect it up to the current status. I rest my case for now.
All right, thank you so much, Lawrence. We do appreciate Chiluba. I have actually seen you. You have joined us. Welcome to the program. And for now, let me invite Mr. Mukelebai to come in, as I gave another, opportunity to Chiluba. Before we get to do that, Mr. Mukelebai, welcome to the program, and good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Chanza?
I'm doing pretty fine. How are you doing?
No, we are very fine. It's getting cold. We are in the autumn here, so things are happening. So we are getting ready for winter. Yes.
Oh,
about the story, the trending story. Our officers vakapokola vafuire fe vachita admit kutira tavaishi vemilandu ishi tavachitapo handle such kind of cases before. And that's why they actually are busy trying to explain all the time. When you hear someone trying to explain things that are already been done, that ought to have been done by them, and they are busy trying to find excuses. Now, our Minister Kumo, just know that something is not okay. There's something wrong there. In their training, there is nothing like, I don't know if there is that syllabus where abduction is involved. And to them, this was new. And they have no clue on how to negotiate people that have been abducted. They have no clue on how to rescue people that are involved in abduction. Had these girls been children of one of the most prominent or richest man into Zambia, or for example, HH, I promise you, or Tasira Lungu, I promise you, the police would have actually even hired an expert or outsourced knowledge from outside to come and help. But because it was Pamela Chisumpa, who is from, I don't know which compound she's from, they perceive her as her life wasn't that more valuable, I believe. So they did not even put much effort in investigating the issue. Because this matter, even a grade 5 or a 5-year-old chap would have resolved this issue within a month or within a week by simply going to the person that these boys who abducted the girls were calling in asking for money. They could have just planted in some money and say, come and get, here we are, we have the money. Because that's what they needed. And immediately they could have actually gotten them. But instead, they chose to stay and start talking about investigation. This is where the problem is. Our officers or people in government, okay, especially civil servants, you always want to portray a picture showing Zambian people that you are busy, you are working. When you are simply doing nothing, you are busy Facebooking or TikToking. And you want to portray a picture as what busy, you are so much work, you have so much work, and you are doing investigations when there's nothing happening. Because had there been investigations going on, we, the Zambian people, we would have been informed about other cases that were similarly reported, that are in similar nature to the whole nation. We ought to have known how many girls were abducted. Now, they know that it is so serious, and the children that were abducted, or the girls that were abducted, the number was raised to 13. I think even Wakajoba himself got surprised. They got shocked. So that is why we always ask people, if you are truly a leader, just tender in your resignation letter on moral ground that you have failed the nation. Because Zambian people, they've had confidence in the police. And the moment this issue unfolded and came out like this, Zambian people have no longer have confidence in the police officers. Because they know that when they hear a police officer telling them, no, don't worry, we are working, we are on it, we are investigating. There's nothing, in literal sense, there's nothing they're doing. It has to take 6 months, or it had to take a non-police, a civilian young man, or it had to take the abductee, the victims to escape for them to crack the case. Who does that? So to me, they should not even just busy going around and talk about, no, we try to do this, there has been investigations, or these are just jungles trying to hide. These are bali abasambirira bati mwasa n'okubonfya otuma wage so that we believe that they've been busy. Bufi baletu bepa. They are just trying to tell you, the Zambian people, that sorry, we are wrong. But instead of apologizing, because they know that the reality, the judgment will be harsh from the Zambian people, they are trying to come out in a very categorical, like you always put it, a categorical way. This is not going to be political. This is not political. That's where you should understand. You should draw the line. It's not about politicians. Move Kainde out of it. Move the UPND out of this. Move the PF out of this. This is typical a crime that has been committed, and the police failed to track this issue within a reasonable period of time. And they owe us an explanation. not tuma excuse whatever kutubepo, tuma tantrums whatever kutubepo. No, on that one, we are sorry. We are not stupid. We are Zambians. We know when you are doing the right thing. And that's why we want proper results. And from today, I believe, or from this time onwards, I believe Wo Kajova and the rest of the team, the law enforcement officers, will pull up their socks and incapacity. And add certain curriculum in their syllabus on investigations, and on how to investigate abductions and technical, these IT issues. Because taba ishiwa kapokola IT, there's nothing like they know these white collar jobs or these taba ishiwa, because they ought to have traced these kids a long time ago. That's why they are busy. A criminal is busy bragging that Wakapokola, you did nothing. It's true. He just told them the truth. He's been waiting for them for 6 months to pounce on him, but they failed to trace him. Not until a victim decided to jump the wall fence. Wakapokola, so don't go there. What's his name again? He's a Home Affairs Minister. These are just political. Let him just be honest to say my officers failed, and we apologize to the Zambian people. Full stop. And then we move on. From there. That's my point. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mkeleba. There, I could, feel, he was becoming emotional, and indeed, this story caused, for emotions, because it's a very serious story, and the approach to it was, supposed to be more than, what we have seen. Let me invite Chiluba to actually add, the voice to this story. Chiluba, good evening.
Good evening. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, I can. And if you are comfortable where you are, you may turn on the camera.
Okay, I will. I'm just trying to avoid my son here. He's very much interested in the screen.
Okay, you can
anyway,
go right
yeah,
ahead and add your voice to the story.
Yes. So along the conversation, I think my wife has picked him up. Okay. So I just want to add on a few words because I think much has been said. I'm sure even before I joined. But I listened quite attentively to Mr. Mkelebai. Mkelabai, right? Yes, Mkelabai. Yes. And I'll just add on a few words from what he has said. I could tell also he was also becoming emotional because this is not a small thing. It's a serious thing. But I'll start by saying this. I think, as Mr. Mkelebai said, and other people on this forum, I think that the biggest problem that we have with the police is lack of admitting that they were wrong. In many cases, it's always like that. I know people call us Facebook detectives, Facebook keyboard, whatever, warriors and things like that. But I think even from what we see from outside Zambia, we've seen police who are much more equipped with resources apologizing to the community for failing to solve a case. Why? Because they were negligent, or rather they didn't pay attention to that case. We've seen it. I personally like watching detective movies, series, documentaries, real life situations. And I've seen police officers admitting that they've made a mistake. And this is how it should have been here. But I think the biggest problem started from the first time this case was reported. They never really showed that much interest. There was a time they were even refusing when people claim somebody has been kidnapped or abducted, and they will say, no, people are just exaggerating these things. This person is just a runaway or is communicating with the family and things like that. And that is why we have a situation where 9 girls were taken from the same institution without many Zambians knowing about it. And probably, and I don't believe it that those families of those victims for 3 months or 1 month or 2 months never knew where those people were. Their friends never called them. then how were these people negotiating the ransom? Because it's clear from what we've heard so far that they used to call friends or relatives and say, if you don't pay this much, we are going to do ABCD. So if they used to do that, are we saying people never reported to the police that we are being asked for ransom? That's why I don't believe that. And it's because of that. That's why these cases were never known to the public. It's because of the way the police were handling these cases. So that is where the whole problem started from. They never took these things serious. And that's why those guys started taking it very lightly now, that they can kidnap any girl anytime. In 6 months, they were able to, I think, kidnap almost every month. And I think if you follow the reports, in 1 month, they kidnapped like 6 of them, which is very sad. Mm-hmm. So this is where the problem started from. The police never took this case serious in the first place. And now we have a situation where our police officers, like what Mr. Mkelava said, you have a person that you know for sure this person has been kidnapped. You do some background research. Usually, these cases, it's always somebody that knows someone. You can't be taken from Cairo Road without people seeing anything. Because that's what we understand. Pamela was taken from Cairo Road. That means she was willing to work with somebody, or she was willing to go with someone. And if they did some background research, talk to all the victims, families for all the victims, they could have realized these people are somehow connected. I mean, that's what we see. Other police or investigators do. You do some background research, and they could have gone to social media. There's nothing wrong with going to social media and asking for help. We believe these A, B, C, D, and what are missing, and they are from this school. And someone could have said, wow, wait a minute. This and this person were actually classmates. And then you start asking classmates, do you know anybody that could be more interested in kidnapping these people? And someone could have said, wait a minute. This person disappeared same time as that, and they are all linked to this person. That's how these cases can be solved so easily. There is really nothing wrong with asking for help from the public. But what did they do? They kept it to themselves and just saying, no, we are looking into this case. Oh, Pamela called the boyfriend. Oh, Pamela did this. But we were all shocked. I think all of us thought it's one person. Not even 2, myself, actually, because that's how they put it. But to learn we have 13 people that went missing is so sad. And I agree with Mr. Mkelava. I think the police going forward, I really hope that they will learn from this and they will really improve. And I don't know whether the training is lacking, but it's like there was really, really serious and a lot of basic things that were missing in this case for the investigators. 6 months was just way too long. Way too long. I work for a mobile operator, and I know what it means tracking. We don't have the mandate to track because it's been given to ZICTA. I know they have the tools, and they can easily track as long as investigators are serious about it. And I think all of us on this forum knows that police are always reluctant. And as long as investigators are reluctant, things will not move. ZICTA is not a law enforcement branch. So they cannot start investigating something as long as the police are not pushing that. I think some of you may have lost phones that you go to a police station and they will be telling you, give us transport money because we think your phone is there. So that is the nature that, or rather the way of working the police have been used to. And that's why even a case of this magnitude, they took it so lightly. They don't know the impact that it had on the community. So having said that, I think really we, even as communities, we need to start looking out for each other because we can't rely on the police. We have really lost confidence. And I know this is besides the topic, but I was reading another article where a woman was really beaten so badly. I think it's in Mufrira or something. Of a mistaken identity. When they went there, they didn't even question her properly. She tried to explain, but they never did any investigation. This woman is almost paralyzed. It's really, really sad the way our officers taking these cases so lightly. I don't know what is wrong. I'm not an expert really to really understand the problem, but from the little knowledge that I have, I think it's either they're lacking training or there's just something wrong with our society. So that is my point. Thank you.
Right, Mr.
Let me
Chiluba.
try and turn on my camera. I think my son has gone somewhere. He's back here. We always fight.
He also wants to add his voice onto the story. Thank you so much. We do appreciate.
That's my submission. Yes.
All right, I think I will invite Lance. I can see Lance there. Lance, quickly come through and welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Chaza. Good evening, panelists, as well as good evening to our viewers that are watching this particular broadcast. Apologies, I cannot switch on my camera. The background is not conducive for the camera to come on. And however, that couldn't deter me from taking part into the program. Now, coming to what is being discussed, well, I would start with to say I'm of the view that, blame should be apportioned to all law enforcement agencies, including the defense and security wings, especially the office of the President's Special Division. Our security system is simply being run, for lack of a better term, I would say, by charlatans who are only in their positions to do what they feel like doing. And obviously, if one was looking for proof that our defense and security chiefs were not appointed on merit, the Chalala House issue, should rest the search. I am aware that one may ask, to say, how does the Zambia Army or Zambia Air Force come into this? There is no law, Chaza, that stops other security wings to offer services on a matter of public interest. And you agree with me that this issue is an issue of public interest. Now, the only way we can accept that these others should not take the blame is when they convince us that the police who are in charge of internal security did not consult them. So, reason why I'm putting all the security, all our security forces or our law enforcement agencies together, as in blame should be apportioned to them. The first thing, let's look at the OP, the Office of the President. This Chalala incident is a huge embarrassment to the Director General of that office, because this saga has made us to know more on how that office is active or inactive. You can't tell me that the intelligence community can fail to trace kidnappers in Chalala. That is full of intelligent officers. If the intelligence community can fail to trace 13 ladies in a house in Chalala, then how does the intelligence community gather information at community level? So this will simply tell you that we are in problems. However, this such great institution is not being useful in such circumstances. Mukeleva, you agree with me that from the time of the MMD, when they came into power, the Office of the President's Special Division became or started being used as a political tool for presidents, mostly to silence their opponents and also to finance the party in government. The OP is used to save one person, and of course, that is the president, when the case should be to save the nation. They are supposed to be of service to the nation, and unlike to one person. So this issue of Chalala has truly shown us the clear indictment of the OP. And then when we move on to the Zambia Army or ZAF, both Zambia Army and the Zambia Air Force as military, they also have military intelligence wings. Are you telling me, Chaza, that even them, they could not offer services in public interest, especially in this issue of Pamela and 12 others? This leaves much to be desired. The other issue comes to Zikta, as my brother, the previous speaker, spoke of Zikta. Zikta, to tell you, in the case of Zikta, they have the latest and most advanced tracking equipment, which is called telecommunication traffic monitoring system. At least I was privileged when this equipment was coming into the country and being unveiled at Zikta. I was there covering as a journalist. So Zikta, they have this equipment. We know about it because it is the equipment that you even find these Zikta people using to tap journalists' phones, and of course sometimes to tap phones of their of would-be political opponents of whichever party that is in power. So this equipment was supplied to Zikta. Why was it impossible for Zikta to also come in and help in this issue? Or why was it impossible for the police, together with the OP and all the law enforcement agencies, just to simply go to Zikta and find out which number are these people using to call family members of these abducted girls? Where is the call coming from? This TTMS is able to tell you the exact location of where the call is being made. So this will simply tell you that there is serious incompetence at the levels of our security systems. So the police, it's high time that the police should become serious. The police should take all matters as of public interest. This one, again, another example I would give, on this very platform, we had the police spokesperson who, when we brought up the issue of Faith Muluti to say she's been reported abducted, the police spokesperson blatantly refused to say, no, she hasn't been abducted. She instead stole money of her boss, and she's hiding from the boss. Surprisingly, when Chalala was raid, Faith was, if not number 6, she was number 4 on the list. Now, I don't know what boss she was running away from and took herself to the abductors. So the police should be serious in how they are dealing with these issues. It's high time that they start taking matters seriously. They start taking matters as important as they should be taken. Let all our enforcement agencies in such a case or in such an issue put their heads together and look into it, because this is public interest. You don't start coming out the way the IG is coming out today saying we'll arrest whoever claims to be the hero of that day. Who does that? Is he telling us that we should now stop showing Ubuntuism? So neighbors should no longer be checking on their neighbors because the IG will arrest them if there is a case that maybe there will be a hero and rescue someone. No, we always say the police should be the friend or should be a friend to a civil person. So why are they giving us warnings today? Or why didn't this statement come out the very day that he was giving the first statement that he gave? So this leaves much to be desired. I saw something where one was said, no, the police are just trying to protect the boy, Robbie. I don't think so, because this is simply opening them up. It's telling us or showing us how incompetent they are or how incompetent they can be. So police should wake up. Like Mukereva said, it's high time that we start looking at Kulirai Kuja, abductors. So everyone in the police force, from today onwards, they should go back to Lirai and learn this new thing of abduction, how they can deal with it, how they can negotiate or come out from such a scenario and like coming to warn whoever that says I helped people. So Chaza, there's a lot that we can talk about. In the same remarks that he makes to say no one is a hero there or they will arrest whoever says he's a hero. In that same statement that he was giving, he himself mentioned that there was another goodwill person who took that first girl ku police kuja. Naye oja si hero chufukwa anamunyamura oja. Can't he claim that he rescued that girl? So in the same statement, he is contradicting himself. There's no hero, and he says there's no hero. They did the rescue. But are they the ones who rescued Uja Mamuna na pasa lift kupeleka police? Was he a policeman or was he a civilian?
Lance, let me cut you short. I can even see Lawrence is also itching, but you know, CJ has not added his voice onto this story. CJ, good evening, and I'm giving you this opportunity to also add your voice to this story.
Good evening, Chaza. Good evening, Lawrence, Chiruba, Lance, Wom Kedewai, and the viewers. You know, this issue is it's really been something, and that has really affected almost everyone. Okay, everyone, meaning Zambian, is greatly affected with this one. But I'll start by saying that the police service really needs to be shaken up. You know, the police need ordinary citizens, the civilians, in order to do their work well. But with the way things are, we as citizens, you see, it's like we don't have that confidence in the police. Even the relationship that is there is not that good, because I think even in the police service, there's a certain culture that is contributing to such cases not being handled with the magnitude that they deserve. Okay, there's the culture that is there needs to be changed. The police service needs to just, I don't know if it's restarting everything, whereby there's proper retraining, and then also they need to set up avenues where misconduct by police officers can easily be reported, and an officer can be charged. Okay, that way, when police officers know that there's a high level of accountability in whatever they do, I think some of these things will lessen up, and the service is going to gain the reputation, that image that it has to. From the incident that happened, reports and the boy, who we should not mention as a hero, said that they arrived at the scene about 45 minutes late. Okay, and in the other clips, even the boy himself, he mentioned that he had seen officers in that area should be a day or so ago. And in the reports that we are receiving, they are saying officers had camped around that area. Now, if officers were camped there, why should they take 45 minutes? Honestly, why should they take 45 minutes if they are camped around there? So there are a lot of holes. Okay, look at how the scene was contaminated. What evidence can they get from there? Because people were all over. Before the police could get there, you know, the community had done whatever, and that shouldn't be the case. You know, 6 months is a long period. It's a very, very long period. Police should consider. Yes,
CJ,
please.
Sorry to cut you short. You have posed the question that why did they take 45 minutes? Maybe they were scared. They thought, you know, the abductors had guns and so on and so forth, you know, so they were skeptical to move in. Maybe they didn't even have bullets themselves.
And imagine a boy went there with an axe. Eh?
No. On that one, I can help CJ to answer that one, because in the statements that these police officers are making, they are contradicting themselves. Look, they said one of the guys was chased, and he picked up a shirt, and then he jumped the fence, the backyard. Normally, to jump a backyard, somebody must see you. You jump the backyard. He secured, in fact, they even added, said he secured the house and he jumped through the backyard. So someone must have seen this person jump the backyard. And then he added on to that and said, the police pursued this person. How do you pursue somebody who has jumped through the backyard? You must enter through the yard the person was in and also follow them through the backyard. So how then did they take 45 minutes if they were able to chase this person? That's my answer. So for me, they were already contradicting themselves. You cannot see somebody jump the backyard unless you follow them behind.
Yeah, you know,
let me allow Lawrence to react.
Let's just be honest. Goofy.
Mr. Mkelewai, just hold it. Lawrence, go on.
This is what I wanted to talk about actually when Lance brought it out, because in the first time I was talking, I avoided to come up to where we are today so that everybody can talk about it from the start. And I read the letter. You read the communication from the IG that came in today. Actually, you read a very detailed narrative of what transpired from their own perspective, and their own perspective actually leaves a lot more questions than answers, because they say they had actually even reached their house. They had taken someone there who was being followed by the police, and one of the abductors realized that the person they were meeting was actually being followed, and the abductor went in, picked a shed while the police were there, picked a shed, secured the house, and
if you pick again,
police and the person ran away. Police didn't even bother to even check that house to say, this house that this person is securing, what is in it? They didn't bother. They just decided to pursue the person. And again, after being caught, an hour to arrive at the scene. Remember, they are saying the area was under surveillance.
Surveillance.
Let's understand the word surveillance, what it means. It means that there are people who are keeping a very watchful eye of the place. Exactly. They had officers watching over the place and all over, looking after the place to ensure that any activity is easily it means that they did not even need to be caught. They were already in the area. But alas, even after being caught, they have to take 1 hour. A lot of things are not adding up. A lot of things are not adding up here. And you know, I'll give them a benefit of a doubt. Yes, they had clues that the activity was happening in that area. But if they are to take, but to me, yes, they knew, because evidence is there. Everybody's saying they had reached the area. They even warned
Lawrence.
So I didn't finish my thought.
I am with you, CJ. Deliberately, I want reactions because it has gotten heated up. Then I'll get back to you. Let me invite Mr. Mkelewai.
Okay.
You know, thank you very much, Azza. We are busy speculating here, and what you see, you know, anything that does not make sense. This is my principle in life. When someone is busy trying to explain himself, and you and me are failing to understand the reason behind the explanation, just know that that's baloney. That's a lie. It's a white lie. Someone is trying to save his job. You know, so Wakajova, no matter what he may say, and all these questions we're asking, I know for the fact that they don't tarry with what transpired on the ground. We are yet to hear from the girls themselves, the victims themselves. May they recover quickly so that we could hear their tale, because very soon we shall know the truth. But from the look of things right now, everyone is trying to save their jobs, even when they know that they did something wrong. They acted incompetently. They were not aware of what was going on. They had yarinch pante. They were trying to move from point A to point B they were clueless what was going on, even though they had information. but how to even approach the scene, how to even handle the case itself. What do you do? What do you start with first? Do you start pursuing a criminal, or you save the people, the victims that were there, and take them to the hospital? These small little details is the ones that are going to expose these guys to say they are not telling you and me the truth. Or what we see right now are simply people trying to save their jobs, trying to maintain their contractual obligations when they know that they have actually abrogated those contractual obligations. We, the Zambian people, we pay them, and they have failed us. They should just come to us and tell us the truth, to say, guys, we are sorry. We had we missed out on this aspect, and it's our fault. We ought to have acted differently, swiftly. Unfortunately, we lagged behind. We had an omission on this aspect. Than going around and try to explain, exculpate themselves. We don't need the exculpatory. We can see what has happened. We know the victims. We know what happened. The criminals themselves, they are confessing to us to say, the police, they failed to trace us. Who are we to start praising the police for failing to have done what they ought to have done? So, Bufi Valefok to Bepo, they're trying to save Tuma contractual obligations that once they are fired, they will be somewhere. Because Wakainde anytime is busy is ticking. He knows who is incompetent, who is not doing anything. So they're easily replaceable. That's what they should remember. So they are just trying to save their, I wanted to say, I almost insulted them, but they wanted to save their jobs, in short.
All right, Mr. Mukelewai, hold it there. CJ, I bring you back to actually complete your thought.
Thank you, Chaza.
Yes, please, CJ,
so,
you can come.
Okay. So, from the incident, we can tell clearly that there is a challenge in the service. Yes, every now and again, we hear officers work under very difficult conditions and A, B, C, D, all that. Yes, they need to work on that. But you can tell from the parents of the girls, they were saying they had reported, I don't know if it's Chilenge and wherever, the response they got was not satisfactory. The time that they reported to Chilanga, the officers from Chilanga are the ones that now made an impact and they saw things to start moving. So already there it tells you that the attitude, the way the officers took the case. So there's a serious need for the service to work out its image so that that integrity is given back to them. So the culture, there's a problem with the culture, the working culture that is there. We all know that. Ukenda ku police, yeah, come on. These are daily things. Let them work on that culture. They could also consider their cyber unit. I don't know if they need a law or something like that that will enable them to seriously work with Zikta people. Because if from day one they had engaged Zikta and the officers were very serious with this case, they would have resolved it within a short period of time. But because they were lax, I don't know if there are laws that prevent them from getting serious engagement with Zikta. I don't know. But, you know, this case has really shown that our police service has got serious holes and they really need to wake up. I think I'll end my submission here.
All right. Thank you so much.
Chaza.
I've seen Lance is itching. Lance, do come through.
Yes, thank you so much, Chaza. You know, I want to come in and add on what CJ has raised. This is a very serious and pertinent issue. Chaza and everyone here, we all agree that Tinatambapo Mafyumu, where you see how the police will protect the crime scene. Okay? In Zambia, it's a different story. A crime scene in Zambia is always open for the public. I don't know ngati libevo cha forensic or ngati niso chabe nchipante chabe, because that house is or that house, immediately the police moved in, it was a crime scene of which we shouldn't have seen the videos that we saw circulating on social media. Okay, the police was supposed to protect that house and protect the people that were abducted from there, from people's cameras. Chaza, it's so embarrassing. You see a video, Kapokola ali mu tropico. Sali na mubuti, ali mu tropico.
The videos were made before the police arrived, actually.
There's one where there's a police ali mu tropico na combat yake. Okay,
so you see the issue that I brought about, that maybe they didn't even have bullets, they were scared. So you see, you don't have, boots, you're in tropicals, you'd eventually be scared of, even moving
Chaza,
anyhow.
Sorry, Lance, to cut you. Chaza, I want to disagree with you, Chaza, on that one. If someone had insulted the president, you would have seen the efficiency in locating. Okay? It's just a matter of hours they would have located and they'll be whipping that person. That even reminds me, that thing of whereby the suspect Bamugwira and then Bamukopa and is busy saying whatever. Come on. That is not right.
At the police did not.
Ni suspect afu nikakapena alinaroa ya pambali manja wamchita interrogate kulipe and then futi balikinga video bamene futi wakapokola. That's very unprofessional. Come on. Okay, over to you.
Lance.
Honestly, if those government police officers are not fired, I know it's a bad thing to fire people, but that was extremely unprofessional. I end there.
Chabe interest, when you are pursuing a matter and you have the interest at heart, you will see the enthusiasm that they have, the passion to fight that crime. But in these abduction cases, it's something that is new to them. It's beyond their capacity. They could not handle. They didn't know where to start from. So they had no interest whatsoever. And that's why you see them categorizing. They choose which cases are they actively involved. When there's demonstrators going on the street to demonstrate about homosexuality or anything, they are quick to act. When there is a political whatever, loud, noisy, whatever, they are very quick. All the equipment, including the vehicle, armored cars, they're all over the place. But here's a case. This is a Boko Haram kind of scenario. This is a terrorist issue, where 13 girls were kidnapped. 13. And they had information. Remember that. Because every case that is reported to the police, they have statistics and they follow. And that's where this gentleman, our brother, that we love so much, Hamonga, gets those statistics and go to the media and report. How many cases were reported to the public, to the police about abduction from April to date? And how are we not surprised? Why should we not ask questions that we've had 13 girls that were abducted, and the nation was only aware to the time when these kids decided to escape from Sobibo. So it is this issue that they have no interest whatsoever. They had no interest. That's what I can say right now. They had no interest. At the same time, they had no competency to handle such a case, because it has never happened to them before. So let them just be honest. Mankale Chabe, honest.
Thank you, Mr. Mkelebo.
just to also play a devil's advocate, I think it's high time as Zambia we try to put all these police stations get connected or have some sort of a database whereby if a case of this matter is reported in Chilanga, a case of such a matter is reported elsewhere, I think someone should say, oh, we are seeing a rise in kidnapping cases, you know. It's easy for them to monitor in that line. Unlike you go and report, they write in a book, they write in the book and then close the book. When a case of that nature is also reported elsewhere, it's very difficult to keep track because you will now start depending on if where each and every report is made, they make noise. That's the only way you can be able to know. I think it's high time we should be finding computers at least when you go by inquiries. Those occurrence books, those OB books they record in, I think they are also keeping us backdated to some extent. Police cannot be able to verify information from here, or again another case of a similar nature is reported in Chinsali. They can't know. It's impossible to know. I think let us also try and see if as a country we can move the police service onto some sort of a database, at least, so that it's easy to train to match up patterns of certain cases and which location. Because even police stations that are near to each other, they are not able to share statistics because they write in a book, hardcover, in a book, very big book, and probably the only time that book is full. And that book comes very bulky. I don't even know when it gets filled up. These are things that I need to look at as a country.
All right, thank you.
Let me just can I just add on to what Lawrence has said in terms of database? Okay. Yeah, I do agree that we need a database, a centralized database. I think in all government institutions, not just the police, it's very easy to set up such a thing. It's not costly. This is something that we personally, some of us in the ICT world have proposed such things. The mobile operators are willing to even give the police a free, what we call APN, where all they just need is just a connection. And then using these APNs, they are able to keep a centralized database. If somebody enters an abduction case in Chilanga, like you are giving an example, or even in Livingstone, it will be captured everywhere in Lusaka. So if you want to compare notes, you're able to compare notes. That is very easy. But I think it comes back to what also CJ said and Mr. Mkelabai. I think that they just don't take some of these cases serious. Because even social media is a tool that you can use to gather information. Even if we know that social media sometimes can be overwhelming and even wrong things, but these are police officers. You can call people and find out whether they are reporting correct things or not. You know, especially if you have a cyber law, people will not be reporting wrong things on social media. They'll be able to say this and this has happened, and the police can follow up with that. Look at UK. They even pay people for you to report crime on social media. They tell you use your phone. If you see something wrong, report it, and we'll follow up. And they pay people for that. We're not saying that our police officers should pay us, but this is something that they can do. You know, it's very, very simple to set it up. But it's either we are just lazy, we don't want to do some of these things, or I don't know. It's just we're used to this culture, like Mr. Lawrence is saying, writing in that book with perception, Chofi Pachi book, Monga. I don't even know how to describe that book. You know.
All right, gentlemen, Lance, I cut you short. I'm coming back to you as we are getting to have our concluding remarks, because I can see everyone is, still, burning. So as I give you the opportunity to actually give us the concluding remarks, I would like you to, incorporate, if you can. There are two stories. One story about, Teachers' Day, where the president was talking about, reuniting of, couples, that issue should be concluded. If Lawrence is working from, Chipata and the wife is in Lusaka, they are saying, this couple should, reunite because, that is a dangerous thing, to have. You add your voice onto that. And we also have another story that, is about birth control drugs. what is known as, is it after what? I think Lawrence would give us, more information on that. What do they call it? Morning after that, this birth control. Okay, come in, Lawrence. Yeah.
Okay. I think let me start with where the president is actually talking
No.
about reuniting.
I'm not giving you the chance to be the first one. I wanted you to talk about, more highlight on the drug itself. I've just remembered this morning after that this drug is abused, commonly by especially young ladies. And, there's an outcry that it must be regulated. So you add your voice onto these stories as we get to conclude on the same, story of, abduction. I'll start with Lance, because Lance was cut short. So Lance, you have your 3 minutes. I'll give you 3 minutes to each one of you.
All right, Chaza, thank you so much. So I was talking about the issue of our police officers or of our police making sure that they safeguard they safeguard the crime scene, the issue of forensic. It's very important that that happens. I think time and again we have seen so many videos coming out. We are not supposed to see them, or they are not supposed to come out, but because the police has either allowed members of the public or they themselves have stopped, they've dropped their guns and start taking pictures and videos in the quest of, let's see who will post first and have likes, which is a very bad culture that we have that we have started having or creating. I will rest my case on that. Coming to the issue of contraceptives or these birth control drugs. Anyway, I don't know. It's like you have read what I was planning for Monday on my radio program, because I was trying to talk about this and talk about the effects or talk about cancer and everything. I am against this issue. I'm against our ladies using birth control pills. For me, I feel like that is what adds to our ladies either developing cancer or having hormonal imbalances, because there is no way where God creates a woman and says she will get pregnant once in a year, and then here comes a human being and stops the normal process, or in the quest of controlling birth or whatever they would like to call it. So that for me, it's actually a big thing, and I'm looking at even maybe having people to join into the advocacy of not using birth control pills. Trying to dash with time on the president talking about the couples kubabweza pamoja. Well, I think it's a good thing. Since the first time that he pronounced it, I was for the idea, because it is one way of avoiding other people having as many children as they can. They would plant children in every province or district that they are into, because the husband, the wife or the husband is not there, and maybe we're visiting Ache once in a while. So it's a good thing. We really need to see this happening and coming into fruition. Couples must be reunited so that we don't see children that are out of wedlock, if I can use that word. Thank you so much.
All right, let me come to your neighbor there on your right, Mr. Mukelevai.
Okay, the police, they just need to be transparent and honest in their dealings. That's my request or my my say on the topic. They need to be professional. They should not be selective. They should act and consider every case that is reported to them as important as a case that is reported by a politician or by anti-corruption commission, because it's cases like this of this abduction that fades, that makes us start losing trust in the police officers, especially right now as we are facing criminal cases of corruption that are before the courts of law, and they're giving so much hard work for the prosecution to prove these cases beyond the reasonable doubt in the courts of law. And this because of the shabby jobs that they are doing from the case inception. They are making the work of the prosecutors and the work of the courts so difficult, and that's why you find criminals, they're scot free. They walk freely because police have done a bad job, a bad investigation on the cases. So with this case, we know it's going to be before the courts of law. How well is this case is documented? Is it investigated? How well is it investigated? Do they even know what really transpired? Were these chaps behind the kidnapping had the intention to do that, or they were just having fun? Did they have the mens rea? You know, in the criminal matters, you have to prove the mens rea or actus rea. You know, you have to prove those things to secure a conviction. Did these kids, were they just having fun like they saw it on YouTube, on social media, to carry out this kind of prank, or was it for real? So we don't know. We are yet to hear from the courts of law. But it's the police that start talking about a case that is actively under investigations. The politicians starting talking about cases that is still under active investigation. They don't even know the facts. They have not even cross-examined these chaps properly, even the victims themselves. They have no clue. We are all making assumptions. We are speculating. So to me, I feel that we are preempting the whole case. The society also has to be very careful in what they say. When a MP, who are busy politicizing, going around on the social media, start praising, let's raise money, let's do this for a hero. You don't know. What if that hero himself is behind the kidnapping? Before the case is concluded, you start doing all this crap. So we just rush into conclusions. So we should stop this kind of nonsense and wait, be patient. Officers, let's work professionally. That's what I can pray for the officers. As for the issue of couple, yes, couples must be reunited. We should not separate couples because of jobs, titles. The president is right. Please, you people in the government, the cabinet secretaries, whatever the cabinet office, make sure that all people, all civil servants that are married, wherever they are allocated, they are transferred to. They have to be together. It is not our call or your call as government to separate people. Put the couples together and find them alternative jobs in their respective areas of their settlement. So that's what I can say. As for morning after pill, it is the prerogative of a woman. The woman has the key to all this. No matter what we men can say, we don't have anything. Let a woman make a decision whether to take a morning after pill or not. It is her body, her choice, her decision, and she can do whatever she wants to do to her body. No matter what we guys, men, can say, we cannot dictate. We can bring the Bible and start trying to pursue them to not to take, not to do this. We are just wasting our energy because it's their body and they have the right to do anything they wish to do to their body. That's what I can say for now.
So, Mr.
Thank you.
Mkeleba, what you are saying on morning after, you are saying let them produce more because there's been so much demand on this type of drug.
But who are you to me? Who are you and me to stop them producing if they want to, or if they don't want to? It's up to them. A woman can make a decision on her own because she's the one who's going to carry this child for 9 months after all. So who are you and me to stop her from doing what she wants, what she has opted to do? If that's her choice, let it be so. And if she decides to keep the child, it's her choice, and she has to live with the consequences if at all they are good or bad. It's up to her. So that's where you and me, we don't have a choice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. CJ, I get to you. After CJ, Mr. Chiluba and Lawrence, we get to conclude. I'll reduce on the time. I had given 3 minutes, but time is ahead of us. Let me reduce to 1.5 minutes to each one of you remaining. CJ, let's go.
All right, Chaza, let me be quick. On the police, we need the police. Okay, we can't do without the police. We need them. We need their services. And because of that, government should look into their welfare. Okay, let government look into their welfare so that things can be upgraded, and even for them to be corruptible, those let me say that is minimized. Okay, then for example, this issue that has got everybody up, the abduction one, it's a very sensitive and delicate one. Okay, and we know that police cannot go around saying whatever they are doing, but we need a certain level of professionalism. We need a certain level of dedication from them. Okay, government should look into modernizing the police, just like my other colleagues have said, because that will greatly help to curb whatever criminal activities are going on. They should also consider upgrading the cyber unit so that they can seriously work hand in hand with ZICTA, so that a lot of these cyber crimes are easily resolved, unlike the back and forth that we usually see. Finally, in terms of the Zambia police, they seriously need to rebrand. Let them rebrand themselves so that they are more friendly, more proactive, and more reliable than the current status that we are seeing on the ground. When we come to the issue about the teachers, yeah, it is a good pronouncement. Mzavuti Slamo Wadisi Ngomanje, Kaimanje, they are the ones that will start facing my transfers into different, even far-fetched areas. So, yeah, but it's a welcome thing for couples to be put together. Yonkanyama contraceptives, yo, because there's a lot of advocacy that is going into that. Because even in schools, there are people who advocate that let contraceptives be freely given in schools. So with such drives going on, New Voter, they talk about abstinence has really gone down. This time it's the same contraceptives, and as a voter, the abuse will go on. It's a difficult thing to put under control. Thank you. I think that's all.
Right. Thank you so much, CJ. Mr. Chiluba?
Okay. So for me, since I think most of the topics have been touched by the other colleagues on this forum, so I'll just add on to what has already been said. So for me, concerning the police coming from an ICT world, I do agree with CJ. We really need the police to be equipped, especially in ICT and other things, of course. And most importantly, I know it's not an excuse, but even the government should look into the well-being of police officers so that cases should not be selective. It should not be about olemera ndio amenewayanga napo. Issues of such nature, like the 13 girls in fact, should be treated with the highest priority than my riot. They should classify cases in accordance to how important they are, like Mr. Mkelabai said. There should be that kind of thing, not manje mwenda kuma riot full gear, yet you have a person's life in danger, whether they're one person or they're 13 or 10, but they need to classify cases according to how important they are. Then coming to the issue of teachers, that is a very welcome thing, and some of us are happy to hear such things, because personally I worked away from my family for 10 years. It's not easy. It's always good to have your family nearby. So those couples that can reunite or be united, it will be a very, very good thing, so that they can work together, build each other together, and as a family, it's always a good thing, you know. Then lastly, the issue of contraceptive the morning after, it's a sensitive issue, like CJ said, considering that there's a lot of campaign going into this thing where it almost reaching to a point where it should be given even in secondary schools or, you know, colleges or something like that. So now that's a different dimension now, because I think this drug, I'm not a doctor, I'm meant to believe it was designed for a special purpose, not to be used as an everyday thing for people who are engaging in active, intercourse. So for me on that one, I'll leave it there. It's a very big issue, and I think it needs a lot of discussion. So that's my submission.
Right. Thank you so much. And finally, Lawrence.
Yeah, I would still go back and play the devil's advocate here, and somehow plead on behalf of the police that we equip them, not only in ICT skills, also in transport. We might be talking here, they took 1 hour to arrive at the scene and all that. You find that probably they didn't have a vehicle at the station. As usual, it's the usual problem we always find. I think I remember not so long ago we had Mr. Ray Hamonga, who was even agreeing that sometimes the vehicle may even be there and there is no fuel. So these are the issues that we need to look at administratively. In other ways, administratively and logistics should be put in place for our officers, because how do I even get to call the police in the middle of the night if I've got an emergency? I'm being ambushed. I try to call the police, and you find sometimes they don't even have a vehicle. It's really a lot of a lot more difficult for them to work when there is so much logistical challenges they are facing. So I would plead on behalf of the police that some of these things can be provided for them, so that it makes their work easier. At the end of the day, we always say police is useless, police is useless. Sometimes even things that they can manage to solve, there are always challenges that they have to maneuver around. You find that even simple things as cleaning tools for their station, sometimes they're never even available for them. Let us look into their welfare as well, so that as we condemn them, we should know that they are equipped, they have everything, so that when we condemn them, we stand on solid ground. I'll also talk about the issue of reuniting couples in the civil service, which is a good idea. And jokingly, I think a good number of some civil servants were saying, no, we don't want to. We are comfortable. But I take it as a joke.
They were saying we were not consulted. You know, some of us are not willing to reunite.
The president should get to consult the stakeholders. But I take it as a joke, because this is actually a good thing in all circles, because especially financially, it's easier to manage your finances as a couple if you are living together, and like you are buying things this side, you're buying the other things this side. It's very difficult and very expensive. Also adding the transport for couples to meet once in a while, it's just not affordable for them. So it's better they are together, they're placed in they stay in the same houses, so that they are able to raise their children together, they're able to do everything together. I think that is very important. Coming to the issue of contraceptives as well. The morning after pill, specifically the morning after pill was not designed for everyday use. From the little research that I've done on it. It was not designed for everyday use, but unfortunately, a lot of young people out there are abusing it. They're using it almost every week, which will have some sort of effects on the lady in the future, and it can even lead to a lot of hormonal imbalances. You can talk of difficulties in getting pregnant because of constant use of that drug. So it is important that probably as it is being sold out there, a little bit more of education is provided and a little bit of awareness is done, so that people, as they use it, they are aware of the side effects of it. Because in most cases, we just know of the drug and we never even bother to look at the side effects of it. And the side effects of this morning after can be very devastating if the tablet itself is or the tablets themselves are taken so frequently by a young lady. It's the reason why it is actually called an emergency pill. It should be used in terms of an emergency, but I don't know what kind of emergency can happen that someone finds himself in a difficulty situationship and the like, and then you call it an emergency. I don't know. All the same, that is more of the reason why
emergency.
But that is why it was called an emergency pill. It's not supposed to be used all the time. Only when there is an emergency, that's when you use it. I think I rest my case there.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a great, show together here. Mr. Mkelewa has excused himself. He has left. He's been good on the show. Not forgetting Lance there, CJ, Mr. Chiluba, and Lawrence. I greatly appreciate, having you here. And time has not been our best friend, but, we've been here. We've had a nice time. Not forgetting our beautiful, audience out there, our viewers and listeners. We greatly appreciate. And do remember that this show comes your way every Saturday at 21:09 p.m. and is known a Point of View. And as a platform for you to actually, add your voice to the headlines and the stories of the week. From myself, Chaza, and the people that have been with me on the show, we are saying, till next time, may God bless you all.